On my eBay store for sale is this Minolta XE-5 semi-professional level 35mm single lens reflex camera. I have designated this camera as 4 parts or not working because of a single flaw with the advanced drive on the inside of the camera. Now, I have this roll of scotch tape here to demonstrate that this problem can be fixed, but it's not necessarily for an individual who wants a completely working camera in 100% operating condition. The shutter on this camera has an issue that we will go over, and the meter works fine. So I have a scrapple of film here to demonstrate how to fix that issue. But first we're going to load the camera with batteries. It takes 2 LR44 or SR44 button cell batteries, and they're inserted on the bottom here. The XE line of cameras was the transition over from the completely mechanical cameras to the completely electronic cameras in the mid-70s. So I'm going to load the battery compartment with the 2 batteries. And if you noticed, there's a 50mm 1.7 MC lens on the camera. It comes with the camera, so it will be included in the listing. We'll go over the lens operation in a few minutes. The lens is very nice. So now that we have batteries in the camera, we can demonstrate the shutter. I'm going to step down the lens to the smallest opening at f16, and I'm going to go through the shutter speeds, and we can watch the shutter fire. This is at 1/1000th of a second. Turn the camera on the side here. Now we've cocked the shutter, we can press the shutter button. That was 1/1000th of a second, 1/500th, 1/250th, 1/125th, and the shutter locks a bit. So that's that issue with the shutter, the advanced lever. It will lock, but after a few turns of the advanced lever, it will cock, just not immediately. This is at 1/30th of a second, 1/15th, 1/8th, and you can see that it, after a few pulls to the advanced lever, it will advance the film. This is at 1/4, 1/2, 1 full second, 2 full seconds, 4 seconds, which is pretty good for this time period. And then you have your bulb setting. The lens will stay sat down, the mirror will stay up, the shutter will remain open until I release my thumb from the shutter button. And then you have your red X, which is for the flash sync speed. And then you have your auto mode. This camera is aperture priority only, and it is accomplished by the batteries. So the meter is ran by the batteries, as well as the shutter. So I'm going to point this into the light, and I'm getting a 1/500th of a second at f16, which is good. And then down here, I'm getting a 1/2 a second at f16, pointed toward the darkness. So you can see a variation in the different shutter speeds when the camera is put into the auto mode, which signifies that the meter works fine. On the left side of the camera for you, the right side of the camera for me, is your exposure compensation and your ASA selection. There is a button here on the side to change your ASA selection. There is a button on the side of the ring, and that changes the exposure compensation. So that's that. On the top, you have your hot shoe. It's just a single connection for your electronic flashes, and the serial number is in the hot shoe. It's number 7016207. Now we can try the self-timer, which is on the front here. Advance. Oops. I apologize. The self-timer button is right there, not the shutter button. So the self-timer works nicely. This is your stop-bound button on the left side of the camera. Depth of field preview, and it works nicely. This is your lens mount button. Turn counterclockwise to take the lens off, and we can inspect the lens, but first, this is the throat. The mirror and everything looks nicely kept. The one thing that I do see missing is the mirror damper on the top of the camera, so that will need to be replaced. We'll go over the light seal material on the back of the camera because that must also be replaced if you want to use the camera. Now we'll look in the lens here. Very nice lens. Very nice aperture blades. They are quick and snappy when tested. And looking into the light, I see little to no dust and dirt particles. No fungus, no haze at all. And the focus is quite smooth. So that's that. I'm feeling a little bit of resistance on the focus. Just a tad, not much. We'll check the aperture follower, which follows the aperture on the lens. Sometimes it will squeak. We heard it there. So we can hear that little bit of squeak, so that must be taken care of. Lubrication, or that problem must be fixed if you don't want to make noise when you move the aperture selection back and forth. This is your battery check on the side. You can see the red light shines, which signifies that the battery is in good condition with good power left to it. Now we can open up the back. This is the rewind crank. Very nice crank. And as we open up the back of the camera, we can see that the frame counter goes back to start. So we can open up the camera and we can inspect the issue. If I zoom in here, you can see that the advanced drive has no holders for the film leader. Now if I get another camera that I have from the Minolta lineup, this is an XG, and I open the camera up, you can see that the holders, the plastic gray holders, are there. They are not present on the XE-5, which means that someone must have cut them out or pushed them in to a point where they broke loose. So be aware of that. Film does transport through the camera once it's taped up. So that's why I have the tape here. And I'm going to demonstrate that for you now. So I'm going to put the film in the camera. The film does not come with the listing either, it's just for this demonstration. I'm going to rip off a piece of tape and I'm going to stick it on the leader of the film, and I'm going to drag it across. I'm going to wrap it around the advanced drive. I'm going to show you that yes, this does work. It will advance the film. So it does advance the film. Just be aware that there's no holder for the leader on the advanced drive. Now, Scotch tape will only work because it's weak enough that it won't hold a bond on the drive so it can rewind without snapping the film. So press the button on the bottom and rewind the film, and it will detach from the sprockets. So as you can see, the tape is weak enough that it won't break the film in half, but that it will be a placeholder for those gray slots for the advanced drive. So the Scotch tape is a good shoe-in, I guess you could call that, for the sprocket holders for the film leader. But be aware that this camera is not in 100% working condition. The bottom of the camera is nice. A few scratches, but nothing major. And it's got a heft to it. These cameras were built good. It does come with the Minolta strap. And the rubber strap is nice and pliable. I do see a bit of cracking on the strap neck rubber, or your neck rests on the strap, so be aware of that. With all of that said and all of that demonstrated, this camera is for somebody who doesn't want to spend the money to get a fully working Minolta XE-5. Just somebody who can deal with the issues and do their own type of repair on the advanced drive. So, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you viewing this video. I have other cameras available for sale on my eBay site, so check that out. Thank you for watching.